Imagine being crowned king at a time when Africa was being carved up by foreign empires. Imagine standing before the world and warning that fascism was coming, only to be ignored. Imagine becoming so influential that millions of people across the world would later worship you as a divine figure. This is the story of Haile Selassie, the last emperor of Ethiopia. Born on July 23, 1892 in Ejersagoro, Ethiopia, Haile Selassie entered the world as Tafari Makonnen. He belonged to the Amhara ethnic group, one of Ethiopia's largest and most influential communities. His father was Ras Makonnen Volde Mikhail, a powerful governor and cousin of Emperor Menelik II, the ruler who had famously defeated Italy at the Battle of Adwa in 1896. From birth, Tafari was surrounded by nobility, politics, and the traditions of the ancient Ethiopian Empire. But nobody could have predicted that this young prince would one day become one of the most famous Africans in history. As a child, Tafari received an education that was uncommon for many African rulers of his time. He studied history, religion, diplomacy, military strategy, and foreign affairs. These studies would later shape his vision for a modern Ethiopia. By his teenage years, he had already begun serving in government positions. His intelligence, discipline, and political skill quickly made him stand out among Ethiopia's ruling elite. In 1911, Tafari married Menen Asfa, a noblewoman who would later become Empress Menen of Ethiopia. Their marriage would become one of the most significant royal unions in Ethiopian history. Together they had 6 children. Their family would become central to the imperial dynasty and the future of the Ethiopian monarchy. While many political alliances and royal families were based solely on power, historical accounts often describe Tafari and Menen as having a strong and enduring partnership. As Ethiopia entered the 20th century, political struggles intensified. After the death of Emperor Menelik II, the empire entered a period of uncertainty. Different factions fought for influence around the throne. In this turbulent environment, Tafari Makonnen steadily increased his political power. In 1916, he became regent and heir apparent of Ethiopia. Although another ruler technically occupied the throne, Tafari increasingly became the true force guiding the nation. He introduced reforms, expanded education, improved diplomacy, and sought closer relations with foreign nations. Many traditional nobles resisted his efforts. They feared modernization would weaken their power, but Tafari continued pushing forward. Then came the moment that changed everything. On November 2, 1930, Tafari Makonnen was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia. His new name would become famous around the world. Haile Selassie, meaning Power of the Trinity. His coronation in Addis Ababa was one of the grandest ceremonies Africa had ever witnessed. Kings, princes, diplomats, and representatives from around the world attended. The event captured global attention. For many Africans living under colonial rule, the sight of an independent African emperor being crowned was deeply inspiring. At a time when much of Africa was controlled by European powers, Ethiopia stood as a symbol of resistance and sovereignty. But Haile Selassie's greatest test was still ahead. In 1935, Benito Mussolini's Fascist Italy invaded Ethiopia. Italy wanted revenge for its humiliating defeat at Adwa decades earlier. Despite fierce Ethiopian resistance, Italy possessed modern aircraft, tanks, and chemical weapons. The Ethiopian military fought bravely but was outmatched technologically. By 1936, Italian forces captured Addis Ababa. Haile Selassie made the painful decision to leave Ethiopia and seek international support. For many leaders, exile would have marked the end. For Haile Selassie, it became the beginning of his most famous moment. On June 30, 1936, he appeared before the League of Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. Standing almost alone, he delivered one of the most powerful speeches of the 20th century. He warned the world that aggression left unchecked would spread beyond Ethiopia. He asked the international community for help. Many nations listened. Few acted. Years later, the rise of World War II would prove his warnings tragically accurate. His speech transformed him into an international symbol of anti-fascist resistance. While living in exile in Britain, Haile Selassie continued campaigning for Ethiopia's liberation. Then history shifted. During World War II, British and Ethiopian forces launched a campaign against Italian occupation. In 1941, Haile Selassie triumphantly returned to Addis Ababa. The emperor was home. The people celebrated. For many Ethiopians, it was not merely a political victory. It was a national resurrection. After reclaiming his throne, Haile Selassie focused on rebuilding Ethiopia. He expanded schools. He improved infrastructure. He modernized government institutions. He strengthened diplomatic relations. He worked to place Ethiopia on the international stage. In 1945, Ethiopia became a founding member of the United Nations. Haile Selassie increasingly became a respected voice in global affairs. One of his greatest achievements came in 1963. Leaders from across Africa gathered in Addis Ababa to establish the Organization of African Unity, known as the OAU. The organization would later evolve into the African Union. Haile Selassie played a central role in bringing African leaders together. At a time when many African nations were gaining independence, he became one of the continent's most recognized statesmen. Yet power always comes with challenges. Despite modernization efforts, Ethiopia remained a nation with deep economic inequalities. Many rural communities faced poverty. Land ownership remained concentrated among elites. Political opposition was often restricted. Critics accused the imperial government of moving too slowly to address social problems. Then came one of the darkest chapters of his reign. In the early 1970s, a devastating famine struck parts of Ethiopia, particularly in Wollo province. Thousands suffered and died. Reports of the crisis fueled public anger. Many Ethiopians believed the government had failed to respond effectively. Economic problems worsened. Inflation increased. Protests spread. Discontent grew within the military. The emperor, who had once symbolized hope, now faced a growing crisis of legitimacy. In September 1974, a military junta known as the Derg overthrew Haile Selassie. After ruling Ethiopia for decades, he was removed from power. The image shocked the world. The once powerful emperor was now a prisoner in his own country. 1 year later, on August 27, 1975, Haile Selassie died under mysterious circumstances while in detention. Official reports cited natural causes. However, many historians and researchers believe he may have been killed. The full truth remains a subject of debate. His death marked the end of Ethiopia's imperial era. Yet remarkably, his influence did not end there. Thousands of miles away in Jamaica, a spiritual movement had already transformed him into a legendary figure. The story began long before his coronation. In the 1920s, Jamaican activist Marcus Garvey promoted black empowerment and African pride. One statement often associated with Garvey spoke of looking toward Africa for the crowning of a black king. When Tafari Makonnen became Emperor Haile Selassie in 1930, many Jamaicans viewed the event as the fulfillment of that prophecy. A religious and cultural movement emerged, Rastafarianism. The name itself comes from Rastafari, Haile Selassie's title before becoming emperor. Many Rastafarians regarded Haile Selassie as a divine figure and the returned Messiah. Although Haile Selassie himself remained a member of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and never claimed divinity, his image became central to the movement. His titles inspired awe: King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Conquering Lion of the Tribe of Judah. These titles, combined with Ethiopia's ancient Christian heritage and independence, helped elevate him into a spiritual icon. In 1966, Haile Selassie visited Jamaica. Tens of thousands of Rastafarians gathered to welcome him. The scenes were extraordinary. For many believers, they were witnessing a sacred moment in history. Today, Rastafarian culture continues to influence music, spirituality, fashion, and identity around the world. Artists like Bob Marley helped spread Rastafarian beliefs globally, ensuring that Haile Selassie's legacy would reach millions who had never even visited Ethiopia. So how should history remember Haile Selassie? As a reformer who modernized Ethiopia? A defender of African independence? A symbol of resistance against fascism? A controversial ruler who struggled to solve deep social inequalities? Or a spiritual icon whose influence transcended politics? The answer may be all of the above. Few leaders have lived a life as extraordinary as Haile Selassie. He rose from prince to emperor. He lost his kingdom and won it back. He stood before the world when few would listen. He helped shape modern Africa. And even after his death, he continued to inspire movements, debates, and devotion across continents. More than 50 years after his passing, The Lion of Judah remains one of the most fascinating figures in African and world history.
His story is not just the story of Ethiopia.
It is a story of power, faith, survival, and legacy. And perhaps that is why the world still remembers his name. Haile Selassie, the emperor who became a legend,